Shalom, everyone. I'm Amir Tsarfati, and I am live from Connect here in Galilee. And I know that it's going to be a little different than anything I've done before because I'm all alone here in the studio. My team is home. We were instructed not to reach working places, offices, and stuff like that. And so everything I do right now is being operated from homes of different people. So excuse us if there are sometimes some delays or some glitches with technology. It's not like my team is here and we can run things the way they normally run. Again, I'm Amir Tsarfati. We are 6 days into the war with Iran, and I have so many things to tell you, but more so, the reason for this broadcast is to answer your questions, and there are so many of them that we have already collected from the chat rooms on YouTube and on Facebook and on other platforms. So let's start with the prayer first, and then we're going to move to answer your questions. So, Father, we thank you so much. You are in full control. You are the Holy One of Israel. You are the one that never slumbers nor sleeps. You are the one that is the protector, the redeemer, the savior, and the one that cares so much about your people. And you never change. Although people might think you change, you never change. The gifts and the callings of God are irrevocable. So, Father, we pray right now that you will open the eyes of our hearts to understand the wonders of your words through the lens of current events. Father, we want to add a little bit of current events to what we know in the Bible rather than a little bit of the Bible to what we see in current events, because your word is truth, and we need and want to be sanctified by that truth. In Yeshua's name, amen. So, ladies and gentlemen, shalom, everyone. I'm Amir Tsarfati, live from Connect here in Galilee, in Israel. You cannot hear that, but waves of fighter jets are taking off just from 2 miles away from here, from the Ramat David Air Base, on their way to Iran. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying that, but for the last 6 days, we've been hearing nothing but takeoffs and landings here. Israel is dominating the skies of Western Iran. And the reason why I'm saying Western Iran is this is where the major events take place. That's where all the nuclear sites, this is the capital, this is where their missile silos, this is where all of the things they want to hide from us and they want to use against us. Now, anything that is east of that region is maybe not in full control of us, but it is harder for them to launch rockets and to hide things over there because rockets won't be able to make it to Israel if they're too far in the east. So, ladies and gentlemen, 6 days into the war, and Israel is crushing Iran to the point that Iran is begging us to stop. There's so many indications that that's the case. But the good news is that President Trump made his decision already to join the war and to take the situation and literally use it to create new reality in the Middle East and all around the world when it comes to the axis of evil and to the free world. So let me start by telling you a little bit of how it all began, because a lot of people don't understand the history of this whole conflict. They don't understand. And just like with Gaza, people say, oh, Israel is attacking innocent people. I mean, they lived in peace, and one day you just entered and you are destroying Gaza. That's baloney. Israel wants to live in peace. Israel wants everyone to recognize its right to exist, and Israel is willing to coexist with others. The problem that Israel has is with those that do not see the right of Israel to exist and are actively working to prevent that right and to bring about our annihilation. Ever since February of 1979, Iran became one of the biggest enemies of Israel. It was one of the biggest friends of Israel. But Ayatollah Khomeini arrived on board Air France flight and was welcomed into Tehran. The stupid left, combined with jihadists and with those who hate the government, they worked together to bring about the Islamic Revolution. They just forgot that when the revolution starts, the left is going to be gone, and anyone that is liberal will be gone. And they made sure that even the military and the police of Iran of prior to that time will not be the dominant force in that country. Khomeini realized that he cannot trust the military and he cannot trust his police, and he created two parallel entities: the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, which is parallel to the military, and the Basij, which is parallel to the police. And those two were supposed to implement the Islamic Revolution, not just outside, but inside Iran, making sure that no one is going to touch the supreme leader, no one is going to touch any assets that belong to the new regime, and that at all times there will be strict control over the people of Iran that have been oppressed ever since. And so in Iran since then, there is two literally parallel systems. One that belongs to the state that was there even before, and one that was newly created by people who sworn allegiance to the Islamic regime of the Islamic Republic. And with them, the ideology of destroying Israel became more important than taking good care of their own people. And therefore, Iran was stuck 40 years ago with whatever it takes to the actual welfare of its own people. As of today, within 6 days, Israel managed to do unbelievable things. But before I say that, I need you to understand, folks, that for the last 40-something years, 47 years, Iran built itself as a regional superpower. And then Iran started building its own proxies who presented themselves as superpowers in their own region. For example, the Houthis and the Hezbollah and those in the Palestinian areas, and of course in Iraq and in Syria. And they became elements that the local governments started fearing of. Iran used two things. Iran used funds and weapons, and Iran used psychological warfare and propaganda. If Israel within 3 days managed to completely cause the collapse of the Iranian superpower, you can understand that almost everything everyone were afraid of was mostly based on the propaganda that we call their bluff right now. It is the same thing that happened with Hezbollah and with others all around the region. Big powers like Europe and America and the regional countries in the Gulf were shaking, were trembling, were fearing Iran because Iran presented itself as something so strong, so big, so undefeatable that everybody started, being afraid. And everybody overestimated Iran. The moment Netanyahu realized there's a bluff is when he killed Nasrallah, and the quick collapse of Hezbollah that led to the quick collapse of Assad and all the militias that Iran had in Syria, that led to the quick collapse of so many of its allies, even in Iraq. convinced Netanyahu that if Hezbollah collapsed so fast, and Hezbollah was built as a model of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, almost share the same flag, just different colors, the same emblem. Then he realized, I need to make the move. Now remember, there's a new president in White House, a president that preferred first to enter negotiations with Iran, and Netanyahu told President Trump, we know, we don't think, we don't hope, we know that Iran already began its race for a bomb. It's not anymore enriched uranium. And I'll show you in a few seconds the difference between just uranium and what they do with the uranium for a bomb. It's two different things. We already knew that they are weeks before everything that makes the uranium a bomb. And for Netanyahu to give Trump those 60 days without attacking in the Middle East, just simply because he knew from day one that Trump will allow him to strike on day 61st. That's it. And that is exactly what happened. Now, I'm going to start taking your questions, but before I will tell you that, I'll say this. Israel began this operation by surprising the Iranians in their bedrooms. We, within 10 minutes, eliminated all of the top brass of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. All of them were killed in their bedroom. We eliminated the top most important scientists who held all the information, all the knowledge, who were physically the people who were assembling the bomb. They're all dead. We destroyed on the ground the archive that contained all the knowledge that they had on this thing. And by the way, I don't know if you can hear that, but the F-16s, they're taking off nonstop. I'm not sure if you can hear that. But the other thing that I want you to know is that that after we destroyed these people, squads of the Israeli Mossad were operating on the ground, and we began simultaneously to operate against two. Wow, amazing. That's another takeoff of 40 or 50 fighter jets on their way to Iran right now. But what you need to know is simultaneously with eliminating the leaders and the scientists, we struck on the ground their plan for the first blow against Israel should we attack. We destroyed on the ground all the missiles that were supposed to be launched, and we began to destroy 70 anti-aircraft batteries that are literally in Tehran region and in the main missile bases. We decided to first make sure that those who needs to die are dead. Rockets are not going to be raining over Israel, and our jets can come and do more things. And the last thing we did in those first 10 minutes, we struck Natanz with all the main enrichment facility, because, listen to this, if you cause a sudden stop in the electricity while the centrifuges are spinning fast, they will shatter to pieces. Unlike if you turn off the electricity yourself and shut it down, then nothing's going to happen to them. But while they were operating and spinning so fast, that's why it was so important to be so much on time and in secrecy. We destroyed, and most of the centrifuges, thousands of them, are completely gone. Iran's main enrichment facility is gone. Now, Israel began in day 2 and day 3 to create a pathway towards Tehran. It's one thing to fly with your F-35s and F-16s above Iraq and then launch rockets. It's another to fly straight above the capital and destroy everything you want. And we created a complete freedom to work anywhere we want, all over Tehran and Western Iran. I don't know if you understand, because now we're operating UAVs, unmanned vehicles, aerial vehicles. We operate F-16s and F-35s, and literally we're hunting we're hunting launchers. And Israel destroyed more than half of the Iranian rocket launchers. So even if they have rockets, missiles, they can't use them because our launchers are not there. So as we speak, these 40 jets that just took off right now, their missions is double: destroying targets of the regime and related to the nuclear program or the missile program. And the other target is to hunt launchers before they strike Israel. And that is exactly why, starting from June 13, they started by launching few barrages of 50 to 60 rockets each. Now it's declining to 5 to 10 rockets, and because they're lacking launchers. And now, of course, we want to deplete their stockpile of missiles, but they still have over 1,500 of them. But again, you can have 15,000. If you don't have launchers, you can't use them. So Israel is targeting those things right now, and it's important that you understand that. The only site that Israel has not touched yet and will touch in the very near future, when I say near future, I mean hours from now, is the underground facility in Fordo. And I would like to ask my team, we have a Fordo video that shows you, the whole complex under the ground. I don't know if we have it, guys. If we have it, then we can play. If we don't have it, just let me know, and I'll move forward by answering questions. Let me see if right. Anyway, let's move forward. The last thing I want to say, folks, America made a decision. The Nimitz is on its way. I just got the news that the Ford carrier and the strike group is on its way. We believe that also the B-52s are being loaded in Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. And the B-2s will be on the way. And the reason why, it's because if you want to attack Fordo faster, you need those GBU-57. Those are 30,000 pounds bunker busters. These are bombs that America never used anywhere. Only to test ground, but never really truly in a battleground used it. And we're telling them, the place is yours to test it live. Israel is commanding this whole operation. If America is going to help, it's going to be under the command of the Israeli operation, simply because we have the intelligence and we have the control over the skies, and we know everything, where everything is, and they need obviously full coordination with us. It's important that America will step in for two reasons. Israel might remove a threat to Israel's existence, but America is moving a threat to the world's peace and to the free world, basically. Those missiles of Iran thwarted also were threatening Europe and soon America. And believe it or not, October 7th taught us one thing: when they have the ideology, the technology, and the opportunity, they will do it. And that is exactly what happened on October 7th. October 7th was orchestrated and funded by Iran, and there was no way this war could end without taking care of the head of the snake and eliminating it. And we did that. Now, I would like to answer your questions. I know that you have many, so let me answer those, okay? So let me go into our WhatsApp group with all of your questions. So, Annalisa, is Israel's attack on Iran considered illegal in the eyes of the international law? I don't know, and I don't care. Iran is deceitful. They deceive the whole world. We called their bluff many times. We have the proof of what they were doing. We know what they were doing. We even allowed America to be exposed to that information. And I believe that when you see that France and UK and Germany are standing on our side, they also knew what they were doing. And so I believe that it is legal and necessary, if you're asking me. We see Lori. Is it really possible for the Iranian people to rise up and take over their government? It is possible, because we are destroying the Basij, the police that was oppressing them. We just destroyed a few hours ago their main headquarters under the ground. Big thing. The Basij is the one that is killing all of these people that they are catching in the protests. They're the ones who killed Masa Amini. They're the ones that are killing anyone who is opposing the government. They're the ones that are taking them and throwing them to the jail forever and torturing them. The Basij. And that's the Islamic version of the police. And so I believe that there is a good chance that the Iranians can do something. Let's put it this way. There is no time since the Iranian Revolution, the Islamic Revolution in 1979, there was never a point where there was that opportunity for the Iranians to rise up and topple their government. And we truly hope it will happen, but that's not for us to do. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu said Cyrus, if you remember, is the one who liberated the Jews to go back to rebuild Judea and the temple in Jerusalem. The modern state of Israel is now repaying the Persians and is liberating them from the tyranny of those psychopaths. Let me look at more questions. So, Julie or Julie, whatever. If Iran completely surrenders, do you think the bombings from the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas will stop? Absolutely. Listen, Hezbollah was created by Iran. The Houthis were created by Iran. What are they going to do? The Houthis depend on Iranian knowledge and weapon and funds. You understand that? They won't last a minute without Iran. Once we're done with Iran, the Yemeni army will surely invade and kick the Houthis out. There's no doubt about it. Hamas, if Hamas knows that they have no one left in the world to back them up, Hamas will have to surrender. There's no doubt about it. Look, this is the most important brick, like in a way the chief cornerstone in the unholy version of it. That's it. When you remove Iran's ayatollahs, everything collapses. And that's when we're going to have peace with Saudi Arabia and peace with other countries in the region, as well as Indonesia and others, because they understand, first, I want to be next to the strong one. Second, I'm no longer threatened by Iran. The only reason why all of these Gulf countries were always hoping that there will be no war is because they were afraid of the Iranian reaction. And right now, when we reduce the number of drones the Iranians have and missiles the Iranians have, and when we topple everything, we bomb everything, we destroy everything, that threat is removed. the Emirates and the Saudis and the Bahrainis and the Qataris. That's it. They don't need to, excuse me for my French, be brown nosers anymore. That's it. They don't need anymore to show solidarity with the Islamic regime of Iran. They better now show solidarity to the people of Iran. More questions. Will Israel take out Khamenei? Next, Joanne. I want to see the Iranian people liberated from this wicked regime, but I can't fathom how the fulfillment of the prophecy in Ezekiel will occur without the Ayatollah's influence in Iran. Look, you're right. I mean, it makes sense that the Ayatollahs will stay, but unless there will be a period of peaceful time without the Ayatollahs, and then somehow another vicious regime will rise and join Russia and Turkey against Israel. That's another option because, look, one thing I know, Iran, Persia will join Russia and Turkey, Sudan and Libya against Israel because the Bible says so, and the Bible is truth. It's the most accurate source of information ever. Now, are they the Ayatollahs or someone else? I don't know. I'm not even trying to speculate. For the sake of the good, wonderful Iranian people, I hope they'll have some time of some liberation here. But biblically, Persia is going to join a war against Israel. These are the facts. What's going to happen with the Ayatollahs and how it's going to happen with the Ayatollahs, it seems like it's very likely for America to actually be very active to topple the Ayatollahs because the Ayatollahs will never change their ideology. You have to understand. Even if you take away their capability right now, they will still somehow want to destroy Israel and threaten the world because that's their ideology. So, will Trump leave them in power or not? That's his thing because he runs the big picture. For us, we needed to do three things. Remove their missile program, their nuclear program. And by the way, missile and nuclear work together because missile can carry the nuclear. You can have a nuclear warhead, but without a missile, it'll stay in your house. And the third thing we want to eliminate is the ability of Iran to basically activate proxies that will do the dirty job for them. And that is exactly what Netanyahu said. He said, what we were fearing is that the Iranians will send a nuclear warhead or a rocket to the Houthis to do the dirty job. Because that's the logic of the Iranians. We don't want to, make our hands dirty. Let Hezbollah do that. Let Hamas do that. Let the Houthis do that. They always try to push everybody from them. They say, no, it's not us. We didn't do it. We have nothing to do with it. Well, that's what we need to do, to cut that cord so those proxies will completely wither and die. So these are the three things, because when you have a nuclear warhead and you have the missile to carry it and you give it to your proxy, that's it. So we want to make sure these three don't happen. America is thinking big. For Trump, I think the Ayatollahs are the problem because they will always pose a threat. And so he may want to topple them in a passive way, in a way that he will cause the world to see that they're unfit and cause the Iranians to rise. It's very interesting because Trump got a phone call from Putin a few hours ago. And Putin said, I would like to mediate between Iran and Israel. And Trump says, that's nice of you, but I think you should stick with what you have right now with Ukraine. The Chinese are not going to help them. They already said that they are seeking for diplomatic solution. And the way America is behaving right now will also set the tone with what China might do to Taiwan. And you have to understand that Trump, and this is exactly what Huckabee Ambassador Huckabee tried to say. This amazing opportunity or mission is not something you were looking for. It was looking for you. Okay, I see now that we received a warning. Rocket launch is expected. Okay, if there is a siren that goes off, I'm gonna have to clear this place and run for 10 minutes into the or more into the bomb shelter here, and then be back whenever they allow us to be back. Okay. Let me see. I'm going to ask my team to write me if the warning is also for northern Israel. If you can write it for me, I would appreciate. Because the warning right now, the warning is to stay by a protected area, not in. So this is what I will need to know from you guys, so I don't have to be surprised here. Okay, another question. Darlene is asking, so they had a leader once where they could live in freedom. How did this leader get into power? I'm not sure I understand. The Shah was toppled because there were too many elements within Iran that did not like him. And so they made a mistake. They thought that Khomeini will bring the solution. But then, once Khomeini arrived, took the power, he killed everyone but the jihadists. So that's it. Ark is asking, will any of this somehow connect to the Damascus prophecy in Isaiah 17? Isaiah 17 is related to Damascus. Damascus will be attacked. Damascus will be uninhabitable. Everything in the Middle East is related to somehow to Israel. Bible prophecy is always about Israel or about the nations and whatever they do to Israel. The Bible prophecy is not talking about wars between nations and themselves. So if there is a prophecy regarding the destruction of Damascus, it is related to a threat that is there, or somehow something that happens to Damascus due to the fact that it posed an existential threat to Israel. How and what? God knows. I'm not here to speculate. I'm here to say that Damascus for sure will not stay standing. It's the oldest standing city in the world, and it will cease from being a city. And that's what Isaiah 17 says. And that might be the trigger for the Ezekiel war. Let's see. We have... Okay, Barbara, that's a good question. Barbara, why is the world okay with some countries having nuclear weapons, including Israel, but no others? It's very simple, Barbara. Israel does not hold jihadist ideology that is calling for the destruction of other people. Iran does. Iran has been calling openly, publicly for the destruction of Israel. And as I said, when you have the ideology, the technology, and the opportunity, you will surely use it. And that is why they should never possess nuclear weapon. America knows that, Europe knows that, the Gulf states know that, and of course Israel knows that. Israel is the only country that stood up and said, that's not going to happen. Okay, about 8 launches from Iran. This is the first Iranian barrage in 18 hours. aimed at the center of Israel. Okay, so there's a good chance I will not have alarms here. But if, for some reason, when the rockets make it to Israel, and this warning will expand to more areas, I will have to leave, rush to the bomb shelter right outside of my of Connect here, wait there, and then come back when it's okay. So more questions, okay? More questions. If Iran becomes a democracy, how is Ezekiel 38 going to happen? As I said, no one says Iran is going to turn democracy, but even a democracy can easily turn into a dictatorship overnight if something happens. You just don't know. For the sake of the Iranians, I hope they have some relief from this horrific regime. But if they don't, at least we know that this regime might be afraid to strike war against Israel until there's a chance to join a greater coalition led by Russia. And I always say Russia cannot lead an attack on Israel unless America is not there to support Israel. And America will not be there to support Israel only if America somehow does not have the capacity or the will to do that. Right now, both sides of Congress, Democrats and Republicans, there's an overwhelming support for Israel. Make no mistake. I don't believe that right now at this current, I'm watching the map of where the launches are going to hit. Okay, for now it's the center and the lowlands. So it's Jerusalem maybe, but more so Tel Aviv in the area. So I don't believe that, it's something that may happen because of elections or something like that. It can either happen because of two things. America will suffer a huge implosion because of some major attack, or the rapture might take all the main or the believers from the decision-making places and the military, government, and all of that, and America will be in chaos. And then Russia can move. So I'm voting for that option. Jens is asking, what does it mean biblically to bless Israel? First of all, to bless Israel is not to stand against Israel and to hate the Jewish people. I can tell you what it's not. To bless Israel is to understand the role of Israel in God's plan and to understand that you dare not stand on his way and try to either replace them or eliminate them. To bless Israel is basically to bless God, because you bless what God blessed. I will bless he who bless you, and I will curse the one who curses you. So stand on Israel's side, stand on the side of the Jewish people. Now, when I say stand on the side of Israel's side, you don't have to politically embrace everything, but you have to understand the right of Israel over the land first. You have to eliminate all the fake propaganda that calls for the fact that this was not our country. You have to learn history, and you have to also understand that our return to this place is an act of God based on the promise of God. It is administrated by God, and it will be protected by God. So which side do you want to stand? Now, when you have a chance to help fighting anti-Semitism, help educating people about Israel's role and Israel's right over the land, help giving Israel, helping Israel. And, when Jesus said When I was sick, you took care of me. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was hungry, you fed me. These were practical things that he talked about, that Israel would endure through the tribulation, and nations will be judged by whether they did that or not to them. Because he said, if you did that to the least of my brethren, it's as if you did that to me. So even in practical ways to help Israel is to bless Israel. But it starts first with the understanding of what Israel is and standing with them first. Then you can help more, but we want people first to understand, because if you understand Israel, you understand the God of Israel. If you understand the God of Israel, you understand his plan, his word, his promises. And then you understand also his calling for you to get saved, to be born from above. So it's a bigger thing than just political or financial thing. All right. Sirens are now already activated in the center of Israel. Some of the tech team are in bomb shelters now. Okay, some of my team is there and they're now in bomb shelters. All right. Beth is asking, is Jordan helping Israel? Jordan is helping thwarting objects that are above Jordan. They don't fly into Israel to help Israel. If there is an object that is above Jordanian skies that can threaten Jordanians, then Jordan is intercepting it. Okay? So does Saudi Arabia. And even in Syria, they are allowing us to go in. They don't have any air force to shoot down those drones. Over 1,000 drones were sent from Iran. Half of them never made it. The other half never exploded because we never made it. Half of them fell along the way. And those who didn't were actually intercepted and never really touched Israel and caused any damage. 100% success when it comes to their UAVs and drones. With rockets, we're still above 90% interception, which is phenomenal if you really think about it. These rockets are not Hezbollah or Hamas. These are rockets that are flying way faster and they are way deadlier. You could see what the blast can cause. It can explode here and the blast can shatter things and destroy things 10 blocks away from here. So that's a greater danger than anything we've seen from Hezbollah and Hamas. And that is exactly why we have to eliminate the threat of the ballistic missiles. Israel understood that Iran is working hard on producing 300 ballistic missiles every month. That's 3,600 a year. Multiply that to understand how much they were about to have and how much damage they could cause any country around. And their missiles are getting greater and greater range, so they could easily hit not just Israel and the Middle East, but also all of Europe and also parts of America. Remember 3 aims to this operation. 1, to eliminate their nuclear program. 2, to eliminate their ballistic missile program. And 3, to cut the cord and kill this whole proxy armies that might be those who use the rockets and the nuclear warheads. So we're working, we're not afraid. Within 6 days, Iran is already on the floor. That's it. Now, they are trying to shoot, look, these are 6 rockets or 10 rockets that they just, launched. Do you understand how many rockets they were planning on launching each barrage? Hundreds. And even if you could thwart 90% of them, let's say 300 rockets or 500 rockets are sent, that means that 50 rockets can actually fall and kill hundreds of people. if not more, and not to mention the sites that they could hit and the damage that they could cause to the country. No country can afford living under such threat. From a country that is, ideology, its ideology is to destroy us. It's never going to happen. Okay, explosions heard in the center. All missiles were successfully intercepted. Thank God. But you know why? Because when we are not overwhelmed, we can easily intercept them. When they send too many, it's hard for the systems to deal with all of them. That's why those fighter jets, the first thing they do is hunt the launchers. When we diffuse that threat, then even if they have rockets, they cannot launch them. So Israel is operating in three different arenas right now in Iran. We're hunting for launchers. We're destroying nuclear targets. And nuclear targets are not just the enrichment. There's many more stages. There is the place where they manufacture centrifuges. There's the place which is the conversion center from liquid back to metal. There is a place where they can where they're working together to put the detonator. And there's a place where they're testing it. There's so many different things that are beyond just centrifuges and uranium. And so we're systematically attacking all of them. And again, if there's one site that we believe it's good to wait for America to hit, because America has the only plane that can carry the GBU-57. That's the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, or the B-52s. And so all I'm trying to say is that great things are happening right now. The world is stunned by the diversion operation that shocked the Iranians and literally took them off, their balance, and caused us to, within 2.5 days, to have complete freedom in their skies. Think about it. A foreign nation dominates your skies. Literally, we can do anything we want, kill anyone we want, destroy any building we want. And this is 1,500 to 1,800 kilometers, over 1,200 miles away from us. Israel is now going to allow America into Iranian airspace. Do you even understand what I'm saying? Israel will grant permission to American bombers to bomb in Iran. Israel granted permission for 3 passenger planes to take off and land in Oman just a few hours ago. We could have bombed them. But we got information that the people on board are people who are actually fleeing Iran towards Oman for the sake of negotiations. So the Americans told us, let them go. And we did. But you understand, we dominate. We control the entire airspace of Western Iran. And by the way, Eastern Iran is kind of irrelevant, because the range is too far for the rockets from Eastern Iran. And when a missile flies too long, it tends to either disintegrate and fall, or not have the velocity that it needs to have once it reaches. And it's easier for us to intercept it. So it's amazing things that are happening. I call it the 6 days war, because within 6 days, that's it. It's almost over. But unlike the first 6 days war, Israel is in a completely different place right now. By the way, this is the first time in the history of Israel that America will join us in a war, and a war that is ours, a war that began with what we call a preemptive strike on our end. American pilots were not there in 1967 or 1973. They were not there in 1982. They were not there in 1948. None of the wars of Israel, American pilots took an active role. Yes, we received supplies of ammunition and weapon, but to have US pilots using US bombers with US bombs in a war that was initiated by Israel to eliminate an existential threat to Israel. Unheard of. Amazing, phenomenal, and I believe that it says a lot about where we are right now. And from the very beginning of this war, I've been telling everyone this war will end up with Israel 10 times stronger. October 7th was our biggest tragedy and our biggest opportunity. It woke up this lion, and people like a lion, Am Kelavi, people will rise like a lion. This is the name of the operation from Numbers 23. And Netanyahu realized on October 8th already, I'm not going to anymore buy this stupid doctrine that we never, ever should attack anyone that poses a threat. Anywhere we see a threat, we have to eliminate it without being apologetics about it and without being afraid. You know, a year and a half, 2 years ago, Israel was afraid to remove a tent that Hezbollah erected on the slopes of Mount Hermon. Why? Because lest Hezbollah will fight us. We were afraid to do something in the West Bank, lest Hamas will shoot rockets from Gaza. We were afraid of our own shadow because our stupid left liberals convinced us that don't provoke them and you'll have peace with them. Yeah, we saw on October 7th the peace. Netanyahu on that day decided, this is it. I'm no longer going to let the military or the left dictate anything. I will dictate it. And if there's a minister of defense, or if there's a chief of staff, or if the head of the Shin Bet that are not aligning themselves with what I want, they will have to be removed. And that's it. And that's what we have right now. And he appears to be now the strongest leader in the world. He is hunted by the deep state. Even Trump said today on camera, Netanyahu is a good man. I don't understand how bad he's being treated in his own country by the deep state. I'm adding that. He can't imagine that in the middle of a war on 7 fronts, they're prosecuting him for things that never happened and talking about stuffed dolls of Bugs Bunny with him. It's just beyond bizarre. I'm so ashamed. I'm so embarrassed that these are the stupid imbeciles that are manning our judicial system. But that's what we have. And I think right now, most of the public is now moving towards understanding that this man is the greatest leader we've had since, I don't know, since biblical times. Now, none of the leaders of Israel were perfect. I don't think he's perfect. But he is someone whom God sent for us for such a time as this. And I've always been behind him, and I will always stay behind him, because I believe this is the leader that God thankfully granted us right now. Any other leader that we have in the political world today is just nothing compares to him. And so we have 3 more minutes to go. Marcus is asking, are these events, the events of the war of Gog and Magog, described in the book of Ezekiel? No. The event of Gog and Magog is when Russia attacks Israel after Israel lives in peace and prosperity. And then Persia and Turkey will join. So we're before that, but it's coming. So where are the Ayatollahs now? They're all afraid. They're all running away. They're all hiding. I think they are using the diaper they have on their head now around their loins, because you know why. if I can tell you, I believe we live in the days of Ezekiel. I do believe that. We are watching, because Israel has to live in peace and safety and prosperity, which we will have now, right before that war. And this is why, I think that my coming book, maybe Ariel, you can put it right now, Exploring Ezekiel, is something that will really put everything together. All right, folks, I'm going to finish with the Aaronic blessing upon you. We'll do that probably more often now that I see that it's possible, even when my team is scattered. Thank you for praying. On Telegram, you will hear everything that is happening. So many great things. Thank you for praying. Thank you for helping. Thank you for standing by Israel. And remember, it's the God of Israel. It's the Holy One of Israel. We are not that good, but He is good. יברכך אדוני וישמרך, יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך, יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up His countenance towards you and give you His shalom, His peace. Shem Yeshua. Amen. Thank you. I love you. God bless you. Get Exploring Ezekiel. Go to our website and see if there's any way you can help. God bless you, and shalom from Galilee. Bye-bye.